You know, in a world that just never ever stops talking, what if the most powerful tool you had wasn't a word at all? Today, we're diving deep into the secret power of silence.
Oh, you know the feeling. We've all been there. That moment when the conversation just dies. And all of a sudden you can feel this pressure building, right? This almost painful urge to say anything, just to fill that void. But have you ever stopped to wonder, just how long does that pause actually last?
Well, believe it or not, scientists have actually measured it. The magic number is 4 seconds. That is the exact tipping point where a normal pause in a conversation turns into a full-blown, anxiety-inducing, awkward silence.
And yeah, this isn't just a gut feeling, it's a real, measurable phenomenon. Researchers actually call it the 4-second rule.
So check this out. A Dutch researcher named Namke Kudenberg ran a study and found that after just 4 seconds of quiet, people start to get really rattled. They begin to feel insecure, a little anxious, and even rejected. It's this incredibly consistent reaction across the board.
What's happening is that this 4-second gap creates what psychologists call a psychological vacuum. Our brains are just so hardwired for that back and forth social connection that we feel this almost biological need to just fill it, to say something. But why? Why do we feel it so intensely?
Okay, let's get into the weeds a little bit and explore the deep-seated reasons behind why we get so uncomfortable with a little bit of quiet.
So it turns out our brains absolutely love what's called conversational flow, that easy, smooth back and forth. When silence breaks that flow, it actually triggers the same parts of the brain that register physical pain. It's basically social pain. So what do? We immediately interpret it as a bad sign, as rejection. And that's when the overthinking kicks in. Did I say something dumb? Are they mad at me? It's a powerful, really primal response.
But here's where it gets really interesting. What if we could flip this whole thing on its head? What if that uncomfortable feeling could actually be turned into a strategic tool? Well, this is where silence becomes a kind of superpower.
This is a total shift in mindset. See, a normal conversation is all about keeping that flow going to get social approval. Strategic silence, it does the exact opposite. It intentionally breaks the flow to create what forensic investigators call a truth vacuum, and it is designed to pull information out of people.
Let's look at how this actually works. There's a technique professionals use called the liar hack. It's so simple. First, you ask a question and you get an answer. Then, instead of jumping in with another question or a comment, you just stay completely silent. And you hold eye contact. You are literally weaponizing that 4-second rule against them.
What happens is the other person feels that intense psychological pressure to fill that vacuum we talked about. So they start talking and talking. They over-explain. And studies have shown that liars, especially when put under this kind of silent pressure, tend to volunteer way too much information and eventually end up contradicting themselves.
Now, beyond just getting information, using silence strategically changes how people see you. By not rushing to fill every gap, you're signaling that you don't need their approval. This creates something called the vantage point effect. People will subconsciously start to see you as more authoritative, more in control. You're the one who is comfortable, while everyone else is squirming.
But, and this is a big but, it is so important to remember that this 4-second rule is not universal. Not at all. In fact, how we feel about silence is deeply, deeply shaped by our culture.
So while that Dutch study clocked Western discomfort starting at 4 seconds, similar research in Japan found that people were totally comfortable with pauses lasting, get this, 8.2 seconds. That's more than double. So what on earth explains that huge difference?
Well, it comes down to a cultural concept in Japan called harage. It's basically the art of communicating without words. It's all about understanding what isn't being said. So in cultures that value harage, silence isn't some empty, scary void. Nope, it's a meaningful part of the conversation that carries just as much weight as the words themselves.
Okay, so we've talked about using silence with other people, but what about the effects of silence on our own brains? It's not just a tool for dealing with others, it's also a tool for managing ourselves. And the magic number here, you're gonna love this, it's just 2 minutes. That's it. That's all it takes to start seeing some pretty serious benefits for your brain.
A 2006 study found that just 2 minutes of pure silence is actually more relaxing for your brain than listening to so-called relaxing music. How crazy is that? It can literally lower your blood pressure, it helps clear out all that mental clutter, and it directly improves your ability to focus. A couple minutes of quiet in your day can completely reset your brain. And hey, no app or subscription required.
So I think the big takeaway here is that we need to totally reframe how we think about silence. It's not an awkward, empty space we have to fill. It's a space for thinking. It's a tool for understanding. It's a sign of confidence. It's actually full of answers if we just give it a chance to speak.
So the next time you're in a conversation and you feel that 4-second panic starting to creep in, remember you have a choice. You can rush in and fill the void, or you can lean back and harness its power. The only question is, what will you choose to say with your silence?